Hello and welcome to Season 2, Episode 1 of the Dive into the ACOTAR series. Season 2 because we're talking about Book 2, A Court of Mist and Fury, Maas. This book took me 11 weeks to read, and I will be happy when we don't have to discuss it anymore. This season is going to be a bit different because of the length and how I wanted to do it. Here we are. So Episode 1 is going to be me giving one theory that I have. It's really not that big, but one theory, explaining also how we're going to do it, and then there you go. Short, cute, sweet video. So Episode 2 and 3 is going to be me going tab by tab into this book. We're talking the main counters for both Feyre and Nesta, and we have how many times Feyre lies. Guys, is she a liar? And then we have how many times does Feyre get called a liar or called out for lies? That is in the 2 long episodes. If I combine them, it will be like 3 hours. Uncut. So like, yeah, we're not doing that. So 2 long videos. We also will be talking about Rhys in it, just because I couldn't help myself. And like I said, it's tab by tab. And Rhys has some tabs. So that will be episode 2 and 3. After that, we have short videos. This could be anywhere from 5 minutes to 40 minutes. Hopefully not 40 because that'll be long. But I can yap. So these short videos is going to be me talking about the other parts of the dive that I want to talk about. If something doesn't technically go with the dive itself, we can just say it's a companion, like the book talk for ACOTAR was a companion. But here we are. I'm going to give you a little bit of a sneak peek. So on this board we have just a few topics that I want to go over, and I wrote it down as notes. So it's not cutesy, it's mostly orange, and then I was like, oh wait, I can actually use other colors besides that. But we have this lovely board. a little thought right now. I believe that the Throne of Glass series is before the ACOTAR. Also, from here on out, if you see any episode of Season 2, just know there will be spoilers. If you missed Season 1, make sure to go watch Season 1. Let's actually get into this thought. So I believe that Throne of Glass is before this one, simply because before this, so before the 500 years before humans were no longer enslaved, basically what happened was humans and magic users and fairies, they would be enslaved. And it was really bad for them. They could lose their heritage and stuff like that. And I'm currently reading Heir. It's not with me. But I'm like, that's kind of what's happening in that series. That's like, yeah. And I think the idea of it being like, well, some of them are not, and in some locations, fairies are not ruling. And I was like, okay, well, that negates the whole idea that there are such things as different empires, and for 2,000 years that there would be different horrible people in them. And it does sound like they were in charge before the Ottoman King said no more magic, and Dorian is also a fairy. So, and they're also using magic, and also we have fairy queens and kings, and yeah, I think that is basically trying to describe this. And if we have the idea that it was a monolith, and for that whole time the same rulers ruled, I think that that is a bit naive to look at empires and politics as if for all of those years it was the exact same rulers. There couldn't possibly have been other humans that would sabotage, turn in, or be just as cruel as fairies are. Especially since in Heir we had it basically said if you're not 100% fairy how that queen wants you to be, you're not getting to that city. So, in Windolin, which I think is Prithian, yeah, yeah, they'll definitely persecuted. Their fairy heritage, because they're not completely, is stripped from them. Also, I think what the Throne of Glass is describing are High Lords, and I think at some point the magic of these special fairies are just going to be dispersed. I have not read all the Throne of Glass. I'm reading them for the series, so if I'm wrong on that, I'm wrong on that. But that is my theory, that Throne of Glass is actually before ACOTAR, especially since if we have Throne of Glass and ACOTAR, then Crescent City, the three worlds that are combined and are entwined, then each story can have a happily ever after instead of what happens at the end of this, then it's like, oh, well, then it's Throne of Glass. And so, not happy. So I think that makes more sense. I'm talking about the fairies in particular because I do think that the special fairies that we have, the shape-shifting, all High Lords can do, and then just like the extra magic, I think potentially was just consolidated in Prithian to be 7. I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and I hope that you are excited and looking forward and you like season 2 of the dive into the ACOTAR series.